You're tuned in to the TVL Rundown, a comprehensive look at the athletics and athletes within the Twin Valley League. Joined by Jeff Wurtz of the TVL Spotlight, I'm Max Blaske with KNDY. The TVL Rundown is a service of the Citizens National Bank in Greenleaf and Bruna Implement.
Another reason to make the Citizens National Bank your bank. With the century of experience, you know you can count on us for convenient banking and personal service for people you know and trust. With extended hours and online banking for all your financial needs. Another reason to make the Citizens National Bank your bank.
For the best in farming equipment with the service to back it, there is only one Bruna Implement Company, your local Case IH dealer. Since 1947, the staff at Bruna Implement Company works daily to provide the best parts and service when you need it, always dedicated to their customers. Bruna Implement Company has been family-owned for 3 generations, and they know what it takes to be successful as your area Case IH dealer. With locations in Marysville, Washington, Clay Center, Seneca, Hiawatha, and Humboldt, Nebraska. Stop by or give them a call today.
Welcome into this week's edition of the TVL Rundown, a state championship edition, as the Twin Valley League brought home 2 state champions from this past week's basketball championships. Congratulations, Lynn Lady Bulldogs, on their first title in school history, and the Hanover boys were able to get their first title since 2021 and their 8th in school history. Jeff, I'm going to start talking about the Lynn girls here in this tournament. Obviously, last year fell 1 win short, took on Hanover, as Hanover won their 3rd straight last season. The Lady Bulldogs get a revenge game in that one in overtime, 57-50, and a heck of a run it was. Lady Bulldogs come in the 7th seed. They took out 2 seed Argonia, 3 seed Buckland, and then 4 seed Hanover. And in that championship game, it was just, I think, everything you could have asked for. Bailey Peters led the way with 22 points. They get the victory, outscored Hanover 11-4 in overtime, and just kudos to Coach Kuhlman and the girls for historic win.
It was a great game for both teams. Quite honestly, Max, it may have been one of the best games that either team has played all year. And for Lynn to get that, it was big. They played well defensively. Offensively, clearly they were putting up big-time points. On any given day, I really think that game could be 50-50. You could play it 10 times, and it would go 50-50. I'm just almost sure of it, but the final score is what matters. And now these girls have something to take for quite some time.
And I think, like you said, too, kudos to both teams in that one. Hanover, a run of 3 straight championships, comes to an end in a state championship game. Nothing to hang your hat on. Drew Bruna had a double-double, 19 points, 10 rebounds in that contest. But you mentioned defense. I think that was a huge momentum builder for Lynn as they jumped out 18-7 in the first quarter. But Lynn was able to hit 7 threes, 2 big ones from Josie Imke, and they held Hanover to just 1 3-point make from Kendi Cohorst late in that ball game. And in the boys division, we talked about Hanover dethrones Axtell as the reigning state champions. Hanover boys defeat Axtell in that championship game 66-60, a back and forth contest the entire way. Axtell jumped out to a 21-10 lead in the first quarter, but Hanover outscored them the rest of the way. And the 2 teams, I think, that me and you, Jeff, said all season long, the best teams that we have seen personally throughout 1A Division II, each of them with 1 loss to each other throughout the season. And that was just a tremendous game with 3 Wildcats in double figures. Braylon Mine ends his career with 17 points and 10 rebounds. And hats off to Hanover and hats off to Axtell for an incredible season.
If you enjoy basketball, you loved this game because it was at its core basketball 101. And yes, 3 scores on both teams in double digits. There was no, I'm going to take over this game. This was team ball. And that's what made these 2 schools so good all year long. I mean, we talked about it, and we can talk about it until we're blue in the face, but this proves why these 2 deserved to be number 1 and number 2 most of the year and get to that point because of all the things they do correctly.
And like you said, too, 3 double-digit scores for Axel there. The junior Logan Sandman, a big 22 points, 18 rebounds in a state championship game. And last comment on the 1A Division II tournament, just to talk about how dominant Hanover was in their run. They set a state record for most points in a single game with 100 in their opening round win over Deerfield. And then they go on to set the 1A state record for most points scored in a 3-game span with 260, defeating the previous record by 10 points. And that might not seem like a lot, but when you get into state title games, these teams are very close in terms of competition, and Hanover just dominated their way, besides the last game, into this state championship.
And I think we need to pause here for a second and let everyone pick their jaws up, because those numbers are incredible. That to get to those points, again, I can't think of anything but incredible. Hanover was so good, especially this week. But all year long, they were a well-rounded team, and you have to give them kudos.
You absolutely do. And we were talking off air with the depth that Hanover has, losing 3 seniors in Eli Hyman, Tanner Bruna, and Braylon Mine. Hanover's just going to reload and retool next year and fully expect them to make a run. Axel, of course, losing their seniors led by Colin Shaughnessy, have a great opportunity again for their younger players to step up. Like I said, not putting my hat into it now, but don't be surprised if we see a boys rematch in the state championship game next year. Plenty still to go here in the Twin Valley League as Chapter 2 of 3 closes on the high school season. It's been an excellent run. We thank you all as always for tuning in. We'll be chatting, I'm sure, some all-state teams next week for basketball, as well as taking a preview at spring sports, including golf, track, baseball, and softball. As always, find your way over to kndyradio.com underneath the podcast tab, and you can listen back to me and Jeff's entire conversation at your own free time. Again, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for another edition of the TVL Rundown. You've been tuned in to the TVL Rundown, a comprehensive look at the athletics and athletes within the Twin Valley League. Joined by Jeff Wurtz of the TVL Spotlight, I'm Max Blaske with KNDY. The TVL Rundown is a service of the Citizens National Bank in Greenleaf and Bruna Implement.